Taylor says the call from Wright's phone was not reported to other agencies because, quote, the information I had was an unknown call from an unknown location. I didn't know where the call...
Up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
Lorenzen WRIGHT!
Oh yeah, it'll be space flying through the air and saving the world.
University of Kentucky in the 1996 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Lorenzen WRIGHT from the
And how tough is it for a young guy like you to stay focused and to be a consistent player? You need to be for this team to be successful.
It's very hard, teams are coming out every night, trying to play their best against me. It's hard. So I just gotta work hard, try to continue to do the best that I can.
If you could grade yourself as we get halfway through the conference season.
I give myself a D+. I'm not in my top of my game right now. I think I can play a whole lot better. If I play a little harder, I think we'll win a whole lot easier.
I don't know if I'll go with D+, but specifically tell me, where do you think you need to improve?
I think I need to rebound a little bit more for the team and, more block more shots. It's a lot of things I think that I can improve on. But, it'll come with time, I think.
This conference is really something. I mean, every night you've got somebody to bang against.
Yeah, but they come with the territory, and I just got to deal with it. They just forget that, man. And they coach down State, they point for their game all season long. And they were looking to get after stuff, man. They did a good job, but I'm proud of our guys who started this ball game. Putting the basketball state in this ball game right here. Being honest with you, this draft pick goes way back. It's none other compared to it. When people talk about the Arkansas and the Cincinnati, but none compared to these two basketball teams. Regardless, fans here will come see as far as time level is concerned and overbearing compete each and every year.
And they had a record crowd at Freedom Hall when we played up there, and then this place the pyramid was jam-packed when we came back.
Well, I think basketball don't have a lot of turnovers. They cut down on a lot of transition opportunities.
Nice move, my friend.
Great move that by Red. It cuts down on the transition opportunity by Red. It cuts down on the transition opportunity. So what you got to do then, you got to play hand foot. So you got to play good hand foot defense. You got to chance to win. That was a great pass about that. We're going to do all this little stuff great right now, Paul. I mean, this is the time we deal with got there and the shot. Woo! I tell you what, I felt like 1,000 pounds on my shoulder at that time. I'm sure it felt the same way for you, Coach. Well, then we're praying that we didn't have to go in overtime. We're going in overtime here at home, which would have been fine with me because we're here. That's the key right there in this house. These kids think they're king. Of course, last year, thus far, they haven't been king.
In the 1996 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Lorenzen WRIGHT from the University of Memphis.
Such a very productive in Orlando as well, outside the Lorenzen. He can make that shot, just barely does to beat the Knights. Looking for Lorenzen WRIGHT again is Jason Williams, among the league leaders in assists, and Lorenzen WRIGHT able to the floor basement. Miller next leg gets inside, nice pass to Outlaw, not a threat, but Lorenzen WRIGHT has shown it. Payton out there, he's got Williams backing up, goes baseline. Malone rolls to the basket, the ball's deflected away. And now the Grizzlies are going to answer it easy with their own. No wonder why the Lakers have closed down on this lead. They've made 8 shots, and Memphis is getting offensive rebounds. What a tip from Stromile Swift on the weak side. Miller's got it back to the basket, good sides again. Seeks where it faces the refresh. Oh, no. That's not going to be close. Miller takes the rebound. Lakers trail 53-46. Lorenzen WRIGHT, can he make enough? You bet he can. Boy, is he just sizzling hot. He's made fine by Posey. Quick look at 2-on-1. Miller thought about it. Back to Williams. Can he hit another one? No. Off the side of the iron. Tipped up twice. First by Stromile Swift. The contribution here in the second half. The Lakers lead at 89-83. Outside to right. Frees himself and makes another 18-footer out of it.
What's up, Inside Stuff? I'm Lorenzen WRIGHT. Welcome to my galaxy. This is Miss Pac-Man. I've been playing this since I was a kid. This was my first game that I bought. If I couldn't play anything else, I could play Pac-Man. I've always been the type of guy who liked the older games, Galaxy, Miss Pac-Man, things like that. So, that's the main reason for me to get these games, so I can have something that I can play. This was also one of my first games that I bought. Congo. This is one of my favorite. I'm gonna get some more pinball machines. This is for me, my son, my friends, and my teammates. This is my getaway. This is getting away from home and still being at home at the same time. I feel like a Terminator. Hasta la vista, baby. This is a game where I kind of got the idea of making this room. It's an outer space game, Galaga. Got some of these spaceships and little things trying to invade everything. Me as an alien, I got my alien basketball. I got my little space helmet going on. He's got his braids embedded inside of his head. That's cool. I came with that idea. Got my little mustache. I think nose is a little bit too big. What do you think? I don't think I got a big nose like that. If there was a video game made out of me, this is the guy that would be the superhero inside of my game.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Up in the sky, it's a bird. It's a plane. It's
Lorenzen WRIGHT! Oh yeah, it would be space gun. And we flying through the air and saving the world.
For more news on Telfair out of Lincoln High School in New York has it knocked away. Shane to steal. Brent's gonna run it down. Picked up by Cardinal. Michael, you made the point, and it's Earl got caught underneath. And Lorenzen WRIGHT gets hammered. Really hurt Memphis, I thought, as Crook comes in for the first time. And so he remains in Portland. Grizzlies down 3. Watson bringing it to Lorenzen WRIGHT. Fair the rest. Long rebound comes to Burks. Wow! Miller. Beautiful set to Lorenzen WRIGHT. You know the key to that whole play was that coming up on 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Miller on the drive against Fromm. Is Lorenzen still hot? You bet. Side shooter. Nowhere to go. Watson with the steal. Great defense by Posey. Set that up. Watson to right for the dunk. Holy cow!
Can you tell me a little bit about some of your tattoos? Because you have a lot of interesting ones.
I got a few.
Like, what's that one?
This one's my daughter.
Is that your first kid?
My daughter passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know what that is.
That's Jesus.
My dogs, I breed Rottweilers.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, so
How many?
right now I got about 12, 13. I got a bunch of puppies.
You're kidding.
So I just had a bit of 2 litters of puppies. So I got 11 puppies.
You know who's the biggest dog fan in the league? Rick.
Remember?
Yeah, he has 4 pit bulls. He gave Mo Evans one of his dogs. He has
Really?
yeah, I always talk to him about his dog.
Oh, okay. I do rocks though. It makes me curious.
So you have security. You don't need a gun. You got dogs.
I got rocks.
What is it about dogs that makes you like want to be around them?
I mean, Lord, you know your dog like the dog did. You don't know about people, but you know your dog.
You ever go out and walk your dog, like 13 of them at once or anything?
No. I bring my dog out all the time.
Obviously, they get along with kids and everything.
Oh, yeah. Kids take care of them.
So, when you're on the road, who takes care of them?
I take care of them. My wife.
Now, did you happen to have any pictures of your dogs with you or anything? Like on your cell phone?
Yeah, I do.
What's his name?
This one right here is Cujo.
Cujo? Wow, adorable. So, but people are usually scared of that kind of dog. So.
Yeah, go bad, man.
Georgetown 911, where's your emergency? Hello? Well, I got nothing but gunshots. Georgetown 911, where's your emergency? Hello? Well, I got nothing but gunshots.
Germantown police released details of how dispatchers handled a 911 call received from Lorenzen WRIGHT's cell phone hours after the NBA star was last seen alive by his family. In this statement to detectives, exactly what dispatcher Claudia Woods heard is withheld, but it was previously reported to be a series of gunshots. She claims she made an unsuccessful attempt to call the number back before trying to map its location, stating, quote, I looked at the latitude and longitude and determined that it was apparently not in our jurisdiction and turned it over to my supervisor who attempted on his iPhone to plot the latitude and longitude and could not plot it. Apparently, Germantown does not have the technology to plot the location of a cell phone call placed outside the city limits. In a separate interview with detectives, Communications Lieutenant Donald Taylor states, quote, obviously, there's some newer technology out there that will make it a lot better job, but we're somewhat limited, because of cost. Taylor says the call from WRIGHT's phone was not reported to other agencies because, quote, the information I had was an unknown call from an unknown location. I didn't know where the call was. We had no knowledge of who the caller was. Germantown police eventually did share information about the call some 9 days later, and other agencies pinpointed its origin to a cell tower not far.
Germantown police eventually did share information about the call some 9 days later.
Police in Memphis, Tennessee have found the body of former NBA player Lorenzen WRIGHT. That's according to Wright's uncle, who tells the Associated Press that police broke the news to the athlete's father Wednesday afternoon. A police officer would not confirm that, but said a man's body had been found near a wooded area some 15 miles south of downtown Memphis. The local news helicopter showed investigators searching the area for evidence. It is not clear yet how he died.
Man, I can't believe it. When I got the call, my mom, she called me, I broke down crying.
It's just very heartbreaking. He's a wonderful person to work with. It's just so unfortunate. I knew in my heart that something had gone wrong.
WRIGHT played for 13 years in the NBA. He started his career with the Los Angeles Clippers and played for a total of 5 teams, most recently the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2008-2009 season. He was last seen July 18th when he was expected to fly out of Memphis. His family filed a missing persons report a few days later on July 22nd. Brian Thomas, The Associated Press.
Search for a missing former NBA star has come to a tragic end. Police found a male body in a wooded area in Memphis, Tennessee yesterday, and they say it is Lorenzen WRIGHT. It's been 13 years in the NBA. Now, police are investigating a 911 call they believe came from WRIGHT's phone the day he went missing. The dispatcher heard a garbled male voice, an expletive, then at least 10 gunshots. Then the call ended. Lorenzen WRIGHT last seen July 19th. His family reported him missing July 22nd. Friends, family, former colleagues, all expressing their condolences.
It's a great loss for the city of Memphis, for his family. Such an early age. It's just senseless, this isn't how you want it to end, being found in the field somewhere, and for what? It's stupid. It's just a hurtful feeling that you have, and you just wish his family the best.
Yeah, leaves behind 6 children. Obviously, it took a while to identify Mr. WRIGHT. What is the latest on the investigation?
Well, apparently he has been identified by the Sheldon County Medical Examiner through his dental records. And some people ask me, well, Mike, why would it be dental records? Well, if this happened and he was killed possibly on the 19th and he's been outside in the elements for this much time, there could be a lot of decomposition. In fact, he was found by law enforcement cadaver dogs, Mike. So that's why it probably took some time to identify him via his dental record.
What do we know about Lorenzen WRIGHT as far as what has gone on the last couple of years of his life? His NBA career ended, a couple of years ago? 08-09 season? What had gone on as of late?
Yeah, it seems as though he'd run into some financial troubles. His marriage fell apart. None of this particularly rare for athletes to sort of transition from playing to retirement. But, you know, this was a guy who was from Memphis. I mean, his folks both lived there. He was very sort of entrenched in the community. And I still think, I mean, this is a guy universally, whatever he played, known as a good guy. A lot going for him, 6 kids, as we talked about. It's just a lot more questions than answers at this point, but really a loss for the NBA. I mean, here's a guy who's still in his mid-30s, actually still thinking about playing basketball, and it's just tragic.
I always like to get back to the community. If we can put a smile on these people's face just to see us here. You know, some of the people say, you know, I couldn't pass this up. I just wanted to come here and spend time with you guys. You know, we can shed a little light on their lives. God bless them. I'd love to be here with them.
In Memphis, they can still hear Lorenzen WRIGHT's laugh. It's been 3 years, but they remember his kind ways, his easy smile, and of course, the basketball. WRIGHT was more journeyman than superstar, but his game shone plenty through a 13-year NBA career that spanned 5 cities. WRIGHT grew up in Memphis, starred for the university, and even played for the Grizzlies. And then suddenly, he was gone.
Georgetown 911, where's your emergency? Hello? I got nothing but gunshots.
We were from the same area. We were both living out our dreams. We both went to the same college. Very fun, loving guy, jokester. Loved to tell jokes, loved to play around, just would give you the shirt off his back.
And still to this day, I sometimes I just still can't believe he's not here because I'm thinking he's gonna call. I still got his number in my phone. It's just not real.
It was July of 2010 when WRIGHT mysteriously disappeared. He had last been seen visiting his 6 children at the home of his ex-wife. When he didn't show up for a family gathering the next day, his mother knew something was wrong.
I kept calling him, and he wouldn't answer. I'm like, this is not looking good, right? She kept calling or whatever and asking me have I talked to him. And after a minute, you know, I grew suspicious, you know, because that's unlike my brother not to call me back.
I started getting worried, like, well, he's really missing now. Something's wrong.
Police tried to locate WRIGHT for the better part of a week, not realizing a vital clue was sitting on a recording device just a few miles away.
For his murder, the pain is still fresh for friends and family of former Memphis basketball star Lorenzen WRIGHT.
I put flowers and I prayed for him.
They gathered Saturday for a vigil at his gravesite, then marched more than 4 miles.
Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up for it, right, stand up for it, right.
Calling for justice in a case that has seen every twist and turn imaginable.
Whoever was involved, I want to see everybody, you know, they need to pay for what they did. He didn't deserve that.
The rally was organized by J Project, a group that claims to use prophetic communication with God to solve cold cases.
Lorenzen WRIGHT's spirit came to me the very day that his body was found, and he made himself aware to me and started giving me very, very specific and vivid details of what happened to him and who did this.
The organization's founder says she gave that information to police 8 years ago, but was ignored.
This case was covered up from the beginning. The family could have had justice in 2011.
He gave that information to police 8 years ago, but was ignored. This case was covered up from the beginning. The family could have had justice in 2011.
It's believed that Lorenzen WRIGHT made that call to 911 the day he disappeared, from the side of this deserted, wooded road. But while the road is just inside the Memphis city limits, the cell tower handling the call routed it to Germantown, the next township over. And it took Germantown officials 8 days to refer the tape to the Memphis police. What do you think would have happened differently if that 911 operator had hung up the phone and they had immediately started going to the site of the call, since they did know where it came from?
They might not could have saved his life, but they could have got some evidence or something. Or they could maybe got somebody leaving the scene. They did nothing. Nothing.
When police finally got the tape, cell tower records quickly led them to the wooded road and to Lorenzen WRIGHT's body. Hundreds gathered at the crime scene as the news reverberated around the NBA.
Lorenzen was a teammate of mine back in Cleveland, and we spent so many days together. To hear that, he was killed in his hometown, it was very emotional.
They found his body probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from my home. And it's a place that I pass by every single day. And for his body to be found over there was unbelievable.
In the long days it had taken police to find Wright, a series of thunderstorms and the boiling heat of the Memphis summer had badly decomposed his body.
A tall basketball player, 260-something. He was just over 50 pounds. He's basically just a skeleton.
He weighed less than his baby child when they found him. So we couldn't have an open casket. We just had to have pictures up, and that wasn't a goodbye. I couldn't kiss him for the last time.
The focus now shifted to what exactly happened to Lorenzen. Shara Wright, Lorenzen's ex-wife, provided police with an interesting lead. Police say she claimed Lorenzen left her house with drugs and a large amount of money the night of his disappearance. It's a claim Wright's mother and sister meet with great skepticism.
Have you noticed only she mentioned anything about drugs? He has never been arrested for drugs. He had never been affiliated with drugs. Now all of a sudden he come up missing and dead as drugs.
Only she mentioned anything about drugs. He has never been arrested for drugs. He had never been affiliated with drugs. Now all of a sudden he come up missing and dead as drugs.
He had disappeared and he was gone over all of these days and nobody knew anything. This is April from Channel 3.
Investigative reporter April Thompson covered the story for the Memphis CBS affiliate.
His mother, Deborah, really kind of pushed that something's not right.
We checked all his friends from here to Atlanta, Mississippi, everywhere, so I don't have a clue.
10 days later, the shocking news.
Lorenzen WRIGHT's mother runs toward investigators.
Police in Memphis, Tennessee found the body of former...
The police found Wright's body near a backwoods road some 20 miles outside of Memphis. He was shot 5 times.
This was Lorenzen WRIGHT. Who would be hating him that much?
As Memphis mourned, months turned into years, and the city became obsessed with solving the murder of its favorite son.
There was a lot of pressure to solve because of who Lorenzen WRIGHT was and what he meant to this city.
Then finally, 7 long years after the murder, in November 2017, police got a break. They found the murder weapon in a lake. How unusual is it to find a key piece of evidence some 7 years later?
They found a needle in the haystack.
Weeks later, police arrested 2 people, a landscaper with a criminal past, and Lorenzen WRIGHT's ex-wife and the mother of his 7 children.
Just the thought of it. Is this even real?
Lorenzen's strength came from the work ethic that his father instilled in him. On the court, he was a beast. Off the court, he was just a meek and mild individual.
So really, basketball was Lorenzen's entire life, really. Lorenzen met his wife through basketball.
Shara came into the picture his junior year of high school. He met her over the summer playing AAU basketball, and her dad was his coach.
Golden brown skin, beautiful smile. She looked really good. Very sexy.
She was easy on the eyes. I don't think he had never ever came in contact with anyone that looked like Shara. I mean, she had all the goods.
You would say she knew she was fine and you didn't have to tell her?
There is a discrepancy about exactly when they started dating. Depending on who you talk to, she was in college when he was in high school.
He's a junior in high school, and here he is dating a junior in college, you know? He thought he was big time then.
They became friends, stayed in contact, and a few years later, that's when the relationship went from a friendship to a romantic relationship.
It was almost like he was just blind with love, right?
Yes. And that girl crazy. She put moves on him like karate chop that they don't do in Mississippi.
I was hearing that that Cheryl was wanting to get pregnant and to marry Lorenzen, assuming that he was going to be this great NBA basketball player.
When she saw Lorenzen, she saw a future with a millionaire.
Some of the people closest to Lorenzen see Shara as a gold digger. So, were you concerned?
Very. He was listening on us, and I kind of like cooled down because I said, if I gotta like her a little bit, you know, to keep my son close to me.
You didn't try to disrupt the relationship because he loved her.
Exactly.
Deborah and Cheryl, they never got along. These two, they never liked each other. When she got pregnant, he was excited about it. You know, obviously his parents wasn't.
I don't think this was a situation where she was chasing Lorenzen and eventually wore him down to be with her. I think, if anything, it was the other way around.
CBS News special correspondent James Brown has been following this story. JB, really? The ex-wife? Why do police believe that she did it?
And you know, Vlad, even with the incredulity in your voice, most people would have that same reaction as well to what is very sad and a sobering case. But keep in mind that Shara Wright and, of course, his ex-wife and Billy Ray Turner, the landscaper, both have pleaded not guilty. Now, the prosecution is alleging two things. One, that she and the landscaper were having an affair. And second, they allege that she killed Lorenzen Wright, her ex-husband, for $1 million life insurance policy that he took out a short time before his death.
Given that they've both pleaded not guilty, how solid is this case?
And that's a very good question, but keep in mind that this was a cold case for quite a while. As a matter of fact, 7 years specifically, and as you can imagine, memories may be just a little sketchy over that period of time, and evidence may be not as solid as one would like. But there is more than one suspect in this case as well, and often, as you know, Vlad, those who are accused start pointing fingers at each other, so that could complicate matters.
It was a couple years later after they got married. Of course, he had always told us that he wanted a big family.
As Lorenzen's NBA career blossoms, so does his family. He has a son, Lorenzen Jr., a daughter, Lauren, twins, Lamar and Shamar, Sophia, Lawson, and a daughter, Sierra, who died tragically of SIDS.
That could take a toll on any marriage, even a good one.
Family was everything.
For Lorenzen, his kids was everything to him. He spent his whole life, and everything he valued was based on his kids and love for his kids.
What were those early days in the NBA? What was the marriage like between Shara and Lorenzen?
It was good.
The two of them were living well together. They were getting along.
Yes.
For an NBA player in a marriage, there's good news and bad news. The good news, you're making millions of dollars to support your wife and your family.
They had money. They had money, and they could go and buy things. And he loved cars, and she loved jewelry, and they spent a lot of money.
Just as fast as he was making money, money was being spent.
The bad news, you're on the road a lot, and that comes with temptations.
He's a ladies' man. He loved the ladies. The ladies loved him too.
And he would tell me every time the plane touched down, they'd be already there waiting. They were always trying to connect, trying to find out where the hookup places would be after the game.
Now, do I know that he cheated? Yes, hell, I know. I was with him half of the time.
When did they start struggling and why?
When he caught her with that guy.
He caught her being unfaithful.
Yes.
And that's when things started breaking down.
Yes.
The infidelity happened, to be fair, on both sides. So the marriage was complicated.
I think what happened to the marriage was that, they grew apart. Maybe there was some greed issues there. He would say things like, man, it's just always about money with her.
Did they have a lot of fights?
I've seen the evidence of some pretty bad talk.
Homicide investigators interviewed Jimmy Morton, who stated that he had a role in the murder of Lorenzen Wright. Jimmy Morton stated that the days before the murder of Lorenzen Wright, he was present during a meeting in which Shara Wright, Billy Turner, and he planned the murder of Lorenzen Wright. Jimmy Morton stated that he participated in the planning of the murder of Shara Wright and Billy Turner, and he received payment for this by Shara Wright. Jimmy Morton then stated the days after the murder of Lorenzen Wright, He was picked up by Sheriff Wright at his home in Batesville, Mississippi. Jimmy stated that Sheriff Wright borrowed a metal detector from his mother, Edna Robinson, and they then left. Jimmy Martin stated that he rode to Memphis, Tennessee with Sheriff Wright, where they picked up Billy Turner, and they confessed to him that they had just murdered Lorenzen Wright. Jimmy Martin stated that he assisted Sheriff Wright and Billy Turner in cleaning up the crime scene and destroying evidence from the murder. Jimmy Martin stated that the metal detector was used to attempt to locate a firearm that was dropped during the murder. Jimmy Martin stated that he accompanied Billy Turner to a lake located on Highway 72 in Walnut, Mississippi, where Billy Turner smoked a handgun that was used to murder Lorenzen Wright. On May the 31st, 2012, investigators took Jimmy Martin to a lake near 2491 County Road number 302 in Walnut, Mississippi, and showed investigators where he observed Billy Turner throw the handgun used to kill Lorenzen Wright.
The murder of a former NBA player solved this morning, according to police.
Authorities charging Lorenzen Wright's ex-wife with first-degree murder in the killing 7 years ago. And Ron is back with that story. Good morning again.
Good morning again to you. Listen, fans and friends of Lorenzen Wright, they were shocked by his brutal slaying in 2010. Ever since then, it was a mystery until now. Police say a tip led to the discovery of the murder weapon and now the arrest of his former wife. Lorenzen Wright played in the NBA for 13 years with the LA Clippers, Atlanta Hawks, Memphis Grizzlies, Sacramento Kings, ending his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers. In 2010, a year after he retired, he was brutally murdered, shot to death. This morning, a new break in the unsolved...
And about 11 o'clock, the proceedings began. Sheriff Wright has a guilty plea. She pleaded guilty to facilitation of first-degree murder and attempted facilitation of first-degree murder. She was sentenced as part of that guilty plea to 30 years in prison. She will be eligible for parole in about 8 to 9 years, and she will be given credit for the roughly 2 years she has already served since being arrested in December 2017. The legal team of Sheriff Wright speaking behind me, you can probably see them. This ends a more than 9-year saga after the murder of Lorenzen Wright in July 2010 in southeast Memphis. Just a few days ago, last week, was the 9-year anniversary. This was a cold case for nearly 7.5 years until the arrest of Billy Turner in December 2017. Then Sheriff Wright, a few weeks later, mid-2017, arrested in Riverside, California. In the courtroom a short while ago, Paul Hagerman read some of the key points of the affidavit alleging the crime that Sheriff Wright committed. She pleaded guilty. After the guilty plea, prosecutor Paul Hagerman said this was a guilty plea. It was not an Alfred plea where you're presuming you're maintaining your innocence, but you're still pleading guilty. This was a guilty plea. The attorneys behind me for Sheriff Wright just told me if you could call it a best case scenario guilty plea, they would, because she is potentially eligible for parole in 7 years. She could get out of prison in her 50s. Now, the other co-defendant, Billy Turner, this is significant. He was supposed to be sentenced tomorrow on gun charges tied to his arrest. It wasn't directly tied to the Lorenzen Wright murder, but it was gun charges tied to being a convicted felon. That has been postponed, but as it stands right now, Billy Turner is still scheduled to stand trial in mid-September. Sheriff Wright was also expected to stand trial starting September 16th. That obviously changes now that Sheriff Wright pleaded guilty this morning. Again, the sentence will be 30 years, but as part of that guilty plea, she will be eligible for parole in about 7 years due to her credit served. Now, going back to the...
Thank you, sir. Cheryl, I want to thank you for giving me my grandchildren. That's what I want to thank you for. But I want to unlock them so I can give them, so they can see their grandma. Sophia keep calling. She wants to come back. She didn't know. She wants to come back. Just to make she couldn't come because I want her to come. And the twins don't be playing basketball here now, so we want to see them too. We want them to be talking. Let them know we didn't do anything to them. We didn't lie to them or anything. We just love them. We just want to see them. That's all. I want you to get the kids and let them know we didn't do anything to them. We love them. We want to see them. Trail does the same. Hey, you know, Trail does the same. You know how the baby trippers for like, what, 3 months? That Trail does the same age. He makes us start giving you. And Trail finna be 20. They're not going to see him be here at 20. But I want you to talk. Let them know it's okay to talk to your girl. I'm going to still love them. That's all I want my grandkids. That's it. I just hate what happened to my child. want a kid, nice looking kids his way around. So Mike, they want to see me like I want to see them tomorrow. So they want dressing. I mean, dumplings. You know, I let her cut my piece of clothing. She want to do that. And I'm ready for them to come back to the home with their family. That's how this.
Am I able to respond to her?
Mr. Gangler, you want your client to say anything at this point, sir?
No, Ms. Wright has nothing to say this time.
Ms. Marion, I want to thank you.
All right, thank you.
Your family, I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for allowing the legal process to run its course, Ms. Marion. And I hope, and I know what has happened to you and your family, your son, can never be undone by anything that these courts do. But I hope it brings you some closure. And I hope it allows your family to continue to heal. Now, again, thank you for your patience, and we'll deal with Mr. Turner's case in September, ma'am. Thank you all for being for today.
This morning, a new break in the unsolved case and 7-year investigation. His ex-wife, Shira Wright, arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
We looked through the case. We did one thing. We followed the evidence. And the evidence led us to Billy Ray Turner and Shira Wright.
Shira Wright was indicted on charges of first-degree premeditated murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and attempted first-degree murder. Her friend, Billy Turner, already charged in this case for first-degree murder, pleaded not guilty earlier this month. The two suspects reportedly met at church. The victim's mother was emotional at the sight of Billy Turner in court earlier this month.
How could you have murdered my son? That's what I need to know. Just how?
The Lorenzen WRIGHT case has stayed in the public eye for many years, and we have never given up hope that we would bring those responsible parties to justice.
Authorities say the big break in that case, the gun that was found in the lake had been searched once, nothing found, then they got a tip and looked again. This time they discovered what they say is the murder weapon. Wright's ex-wife. She was arrested Friday night in Riverside, California.
But after all these years, finally some closure for his family.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron.
Glad this also my grandkids can heal and rest and come see their grandmama and we can have fun like we used to. That's what I'm glad about, to see my grandkids. Let them know they ain't got to worry about nothing. Everything's under control. It's in God's hand.
Outside the courtroom, Deborah Marion told reporters she hopes Shira Wright's guilty plea will help bring closure for her family. The murder of her son, Lorenzen, and the arrest of his ex-wife, Shira, has split the family apart.
Right now, the family feels relieved. You got to forgive me.
Marion was the first to report Lorenzen Wright missing in 2010 and always believed Shira was involved. Since his death, Marion has held annual vigils in his memory.
Now that it is at the end, she can finally start to forgive. Never forget. You never forget your child. But she can start now trying to rebuild her life.